We've got offensive lineman Kip Franklin with us today. A couple of notes. Kip is wearing 68 this year, the David Forney number. And also of note, Kip has asked Trey Cummings to wear his 66. So Kip's going from 66 to 68, and then Cummings is going to wear his 66. And one other note that Kip wanted me to make everyone aware of, that he leads all offensive linemen in career tackles with 2. He got those on the punt team as a sophomore, and he still is the leader among all current offensive linemen with 2 career tackles. With that, I'll let Wag start it off.
Good to see you, Kip. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Great. So talk about getting David Forney's number. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it was super special. When they kind of asked me about it earlier, I talked to Pierce about it. He was like, yeah, it's kind of the biggest honor you can get, especially in our little room. It's a big deal for me. I called my mom and dad right away. I was really excited for it. Really special. Definitely, like me this year's gonna mean a lot more wearing 68, like being able to represent Forney and his family, and then like that senior class in total. I'm really excited. Hopefully I really do it some justice.
So will you talk to the Forney family?
Yeah, so I'll probably call his dad here. So I was gonna do it before any article got put out. I've been kind of just waiting to time it up before anyone else hears about it. Talk to him, but I'll call his dad probably tonight.
So what does that mean to you? I mean, first of all, I guess did you know David at all?
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of interesting relationship. I mean, he was a senior when I was a direct entry freshman. So like I knew him in passing. I really admired him, and like that crew, they walked around like they were special. So I admired them kind of from afar. We weren't super close, like personally, but I knew him. I guess kind of like being a fan of him almost.
And so wearing that number, I mean, what do you feel like you have to represent? What do you feel is the way you honor David Forney when you wear that number? What do you feel you have to be as an offensive lineman?
Yeah. So I mean, we go back whenever we watch film, we watch a lot of him. And when we watch our trap, it's what David Forney did and how he played. It's running through guys' faces, putting them down, and then talking a little bit to them underneath. When you're on top, you did talk a little bit to them. That's why I try to strive for. Try and like put guys on their backs and then chirp a little bit and get up, play the next play, and score touchdowns or get touchdowns scored.
So in terms of the Trey Cummings thing, why did you do that? And I'm kind of telling me the meaning behind it.
Yeah. So when they asked me to move 68, they said, who would you like to move? Like, who would you like to take 66? And I think he's kind of the guy that I've gotten closest with in that class. You know, after his mom passed away, plea beer, like we kind of told, get close to him, like make him feel at home. And I mean, I took it kind of upon myself to get to know him, really like make sure he felt welcome in our room. And we've gotten really close. Talked to him a lot. Now they sit in 2 lockers down. We're even closer. Talk to him every day. We're pretty good friends now.
Did he appreciate the gesture? What did he have to say when you told him that?
Yeah, he seemed excited. I think it kind of took him by shock. It was kind of an awkward time in the locker room when I told him. I didn't make it that big a deal. I was like, hey, I'd love for you to take 66 if you want to wear it. He said, yeah, it's nothing real big transaction went down.
All right, I'll let someone else have a shot.
Phil Bergman.
Kip, just talking about the offensive line as a whole, just how's the group looking so far in the spring?
We're good. A lot of young guys stepped up, started playing really well. I mean, Romo's playing really good at tackle. Him and Sam Glover looking really good at tackle. Interior, we've got a lot of guys step up. I mean, Hickson at center has been really good. Mike Petrov moved over. He used to be 66 too when he was on defense. So I still call him 66. But he's getting reps at center now. He looks really good. I'm pumped to see what he does. And then interior, I mean, Pena and Ahmad have been playing their butts off. They look really good too.
You're known for your very light-hearted character on the football field. How is having someone that's a little more fun and relaxed beneficial, you think, to the team?
I think it's big. I've always been the guy to just smile, make it fun, make you want to be there, make you want to practice. I mean, some people, obviously you got to take football seriously at some points, but being able to laugh, being able to smile while you're out there makes it so much more special, I think.
On the flip side, you're one of the returning starters with a lot of experience, being a rising senior. Do you think you can take the reins and also be a more serious leader at times?
Yeah, definitely. I think I've matured enough in my time here, and I can tell when kind of flip the switch, when you got to lock in. Team looks a little flat, and no one to say something. But also when we're on the high, when we're looking good, being able to really enjoy the moment, live in the moment, and just have fun playing the game we all love.
And then last question, you're known for taking a picture next to a trash can on the first day of school, every first day of the semester. Where did this tradition come from?
It was Fort Higgins did it. I looked up to Ford. He's one of Forney's classmates. But Ford, I forget why he did it, but I know Ford, he did it by a trash can. And then I imitated him my first day, and my mom hated it. So those two mixing, I do it every year now. My mom wants a first day of school picture. That's what she gets. She gets the trash can and me.
You and Learyon are both sitting out spring camp, correct? You're not, full practice availability.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So, I mean, that's given some younger guys a chance to play. So, I mean, Skip Romo, because we've seen what he can do. Who are some of the younger guys who have impressed you that have, maybe shown something, show they may be deserving of playing time? Maybe guys that we have not seen on the field to date.
Yeah, probably Hickson and Self at center look really good. I mean, we were definitely what me and Larry talked about. He's in my company. Me and Larry, we were in 13 together. Then after the shotgun, we moved to 21 together. So me and Larry are actually really close, especially when we were playing next to each other last year. We had a lot of fun. I mean, just us two talking. We watch practice together. We like how the centers are looking. So hopefully Larry can come back and play right guard with me next year when he gets back, instead of having to play center. But I really like the two centers, and even Petrov now moving over looks good. Pena, I guess Pena had a lot of playing time. Pena looks good. Trey Cummings actually will probably be he'll be able to play snaps if he needs to this year. Obviously he's kind of far in the depth chart right now, just behind some older guys, but he can play some good football. Not anyone else really.
Well, what do you see Hickson exactly? Because I think Coach Niemeyer may have mentioned Hickson and being impressed, and obviously that's an area of concern because that's one of the big losses, obviously, with Pierce going to be graduating. What are you seeing out of Hickson?
I mean, he's a really good athlete. I think right now you're trying to compare him to Ford Higgins, like a little maybe undersized but high motor guy. He really needs to get in the playbook, but he's looked really good. He plays physical. When he knows what he's doing, he's a very good center. He gets a snap up. And he knows football. He's a football guy. He gets it.
What about Ahmad Bradley? He's a big boy at 6'3", 300. How's he coming along? Because that's another left guard is a position that has to be replaced.
Yeah, I mean he's very physical. I like how he plays. I don't know if you remember Laurent and Jiki kind of type guy. That's what he reminds me of. He's another guy who can really add to the depth at guard this year. I think him and Pena are looking to win a battle out. But he looks good. I really like how he's doing. I don't think coming into spring ball, he knew as much as the offense as he wanted to, but he's right now, he's in a great spot. I think he really understands the offense. Getting these reps in spring was really big for him. He's looking good now.
What do you like about right tackle more than left tackle?
Well, I guess right tackle was where I was able to get in first. They moved because I right tackle here, we're in a left-handed stance. Not really. I played all my high school. I played in a right-handed stance. So I mean, I like the challenge. Making myself get comfortable in a left-handed stance, seeing the field. I don't know anything else really. I like the challenge, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, some Navy fans would look at the offensive line and see that the losses, I think it's 3 total starters. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. Well, they would see that this is a somewhat rebuild. I mean, can you reassure fans that the offensive line is going to be ready to go come September?
I mean, yeah, I don't even know if it's a real rebuild, though. I mean, you look at Romo's played games. Ahmad's gotten in a lot. Pena's played a lot of games. Lyrian's played a lot of games. I've played a good amount of games myself. Like, I don't even know if it's rebuilding. It's just reloading. A lot of talent coming back. I mean, once we lock down the center and the center feels really comfortable, we're going to have a very good offensive line here.
Coach Ingram, for you first, we just talked to Kip Frankland. How's he been? How's your relationship been with him? I guess you recruited him being from Tennessee.
Yeah, so I recruited him. He's doing great. He's kind of the leader of the group. He's been injured a little bit this spring, but he's kind of been full-aged, kind of the ringleader of the group. Pretty lighthearted kid. He's a lot of fun to coach. I think myself and Coach O'Rourke have a great relationship with him. He's I don't know if you saw his picture from the lacrosse game the other day, but he's quite the character. So no, he's a lot of fun.
Why did the staff choose to make him number 68 this upcoming season?
Well, I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, we want to continue to honor Dave, and we want to kind of the ringleader or the leader of the group to be in that number. Someone that has been tested, someone that has performed in the big lights, and then I think that maybe the bigger part of it is that Kip wanted to wear that number. I think he's honored to have the opportunity to do that. And I think he sees it as a way to carry on Dave's legacy and continue to honor him. And we're super excited that he wanted to do it because we know he's going to wear it well.
And Kip mentioned that he gave his number 66 to Trey Cummings. For either of you coaches, just what does that mean as well for Trey to wear 66?
You'll take that, Danny?
Oh yeah. So I think that's just shows the selflessness of Kip. He sees a lot of himself in Trey as far as, wanting to play, wanting to work hard, wanting to do all those things. I think that's just kind of who Kip is. He took him in, and it's just put his arm around him and looked after him and just letting him know, hey, we're gonna take care of you here.
On the right-hand side, where Murtazy and Franklin are listed as starters, but are pretty much sitting out spring ball, who's getting most of the reps over there? Is it Pena and Glover? Are they been running with the ones?
Yeah, they have. I'll talk about Josh. So Josh started quite a bit for us last year at left guard. So we moved him over. We just like to have enough guys that we can roam around and move people around if we have injuries. So we moved him over to right side and let him play that. He's done great. He's had a really good spring. He's probably kind of picked up where he was, and I think he's a better football player today than he was, this time last year and at the end of the season. So we're super excited about him.
Yeah, with Glover, so obviously with Kip, not practicing, we got to find somebody, that's going to fill that role. Jamie, Sam, and Petty, Joe Petty have all done a good job this spring of filling in. They're playing both sides. We're trying to find, obviously, the next best guy. Will play the other tackle spot, the left tackle spot, and then, and you got to find good backup. So, it's just been a good opportunity for those guys to get a lot of reps with the ones, a lot of reps against our one defense and going at it pretty good this spring. So they've gotten better. It's been a great spring for them.
So Danny, going into the spring, Petty was listed as the backup behind Romo on left side, and Evan Brown was listed 3 behind Glover on the right side. Have you switched things up, is what you're saying?
Well, no, all those guys, Evan is a freshman. We got 2 other freshmen. Connor McMahon hasn't practiced, nursing a little deal, and then Trey Cummings, has practiced. So those freshmen, those are the freshmen that have been taking a lot of the reps, and all of them have done a good job. And we're expecting, those guys to play well. With Glover, Romo, and Petty, they're going to play both sides, so they have to be able to play left, play right, and be able to swing in a game. They got to be able to go back and forth, depending on who goes down. So we just don't want to pigeonhole them. Hey, you're a left side guy, you have to play the left, or you're a right side guy, you have to play the right. They need to obviously be able to play both.
So Ashley, with regard to center, David Hickson, I've heard some decent things about him. Coach Nehemiah said something nice about him and liked the way he was working. Just now, Kip Franklin was on and said he's been impressed with what Hickson's been providing. What are you seeing at center? Is Hickson separating himself from Brent Self? And, just tell us a little bit about Hickson, who's listed as the starter at center.
And so he's having a good spring. He was a freshman. Because of injury, we had to pull him up last fall, and he traveled with us, probably the last quarter of the season. I don't think he got any game reps, but just kind of had to fast track him. He's an athletic kid, plays hard, love his mentality, love his mindset. Got some characteristics of, Ford Higgins, I think, as a player, but he's improving every day. Doesn't say anything. He just keeps getting in the huddle, keeps working. So I think he's got a chance to be a good football player. Just at center, though, we have Lirion Murtese could play center as well. We're going to always try to get the best five out there and try to figure out what that is. Brent Self is there. He's doing a good job. Franklin Moriarty, who's another freshman, a big kid, maybe 290-pounder, is doing a nice job. He's getting better. He's also starting to play a little guard. We're making sure we're ready at guard as well. And then we moved over a defensive player last week, Mike Petrov. And Mike's actually got a kind of a natural instinct to play offensive line and to snap the football. Hickson's doing a great job, but there's some other young guys there too that we're just going to keep developing, keep working. I always like to have 4 or 5 centers ready to go if we need it. So we'll be ready to roll there.
So you mentioned about, obviously Pena played a lot of football last year. So just curious as to, he's a more proven guy than Ahmad Bradley. Why not list Pena at the starter at left guard? Or do you just not feel he's suited to be on the left side and needs to play on the right?
Well, I'm not too concerned about who's listed as a starter right now. Ahmad feels more comfortable on the left side. So I moved Josh over to the right side. So if we have some issues, we'll figure out who's going to be the starter. Now Josh can play both sides. So I worked him at right guard this spring so he can play right guard if we have issues. No matter who gets injured, if he's the starting left guard and we have problems at right guard, I can move Josh over to right guard now. So it just gives us more flexibility of what we can do. Josh has had a great spring, and we could list Josh as a starter, probably anywhere across the board, to be honest with you. Ahmad Bradley's also had a really nice spring, and we're super excited about him at left guard. And then the other one, Brandon Moore, is a senior that has not played a lot, but he's another 310-pound kid that can move and is athletic. And he's actually having a really nice spring, and he's decided maybe he wants to play a little football now, finally. And we're excited about that. And some of these young guys we're excited about as well. So we got Nick Rowan that had a knee injury. We'll get him back for the fall too. So as always, it's kind of like musical chairs, but we're just I always try to think of the worst case scenario. So what if we have these 2 guys in here and somebody gets hurt? Well, who's my swing guy? Well, what if I have injuries at center? Well, who can go in at center? So we all like to have a lot of combinations. And Coach O'Rourke's doing the same thing with Glover at tackle and Romo. They're switching sides in case we have to move somebody somewhere else as well if Kip goes down or something like that.
So last for me before I pass it back to Phil, Danny, with regard to Trey Cummings, obviously we know about the tragedy. It's just, I mean, can you talk about you personally trying to wrap your arms around that young man and maybe, the whole position group? I mean, nobody's closer to Trey, than his fellow tackles that he's in the meeting rooms with all the time. But can you talk about trying to get Trey through this difficult plebe year? Is hard enough without having to deal with losing your mother.
Yeah, it's honestly, and I know Coach Ingram would say the same thing. He's probably one of the most amazing young men I've ever been around in my entire life. What he's gone through is unspeakable. It's just really, really unbelievable. And then to handle it the way he has, to come back to school, to go through what he went through, even after he came back in plebe summer, not being able to join the football team when, they all came over. He had to finish his plebe summer requirements. I can't say enough about the young man. I'm actually in awe of him and everything that he's done and gone through. He puts his his arms around us sometimes and says, "Hey, it's going to be okay." If we have a bad day or we have a bad practice, we're looking at this guy for guidance. He's mature, beyond his years. He's just a bright spot every day when you see him. And I can't say enough good things about him. And then on top of that, he's actually a very good football player. He's got a lot of promise, a lot of talent. He obviously doesn't know, the system yet, everything. That's what he's here for us while we practice. That's what he's going to go through this summer. He doesn't, know everything in detail or how fast we have to play or, all that, but he will get it. He's going to be a very good football player here for us. So I can't say enough good things about him. I mean, he's really an amazing young man.
Well, real quick to follow up on that, I mean, if what happened to me and I was just arrived at the Naval Academy as for plebe summer, I probably would have left. Just said, I don't want to be in Annapolis. I don't want to be here. How did it end up that he stayed? Because that had to be a very difficult decision.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I mean, that's obviously they're very spiritual people. He felt this is where he was supposed to be, and this was his calling, and his, obviously with the support of his dad and the rest of his family, and everything. There were times this summer where I would just shake my head and go, I couldn't have done it. And I know if we're being honest with ourselves, probably none of us could have done it, but he's here and he's actually thriving. He's doing well. I know he has bad days and obviously there's some sleepless nights. And it probably will be for the rest of his life. But I mean, the young man is just amazing what he's been able to, maturity level and what he's been able to do this year is pretty unbelievable.
All right, we'll make one more trip around. Phil Bergman.
Yeah, Coach Ingram, I believe in the past few years you switched recruiting areas now to the DMV. How's that going?
It's going well. I still have Tennessee is obviously a big area for us. I have Kentucky as well, which I've had all along. Some of the other areas I've given up, but I'm recruiting the DMV, and we've done really well the last 2 cycles. I think we've signed, 12, 13, 14 guys each year from the area. There is great local talent here. It makes a lot of sense that we would recruit locally, maybe more heavy than we have in the past. There are great academics here. There are great private schools here. There are a lot of schools in the area that are just a perfect fit for us. We have a lot to offer to these young men. So I've enjoyed it. I've been really, really impressed with the quality of high school football play in the DMV. I've also been impressed with academics, the coaches, the young men. So it's been a great move for me, and hopefully in the long run, it'll be a great move for our program as well.
And then Coach O'Rourke, want to just touch on your role with special teams quickly. How are those positions looking so far this spring? Any changes there?
Yeah, we're coming on great. It seems like we've invested some more time in spring ball than we usually do. Our goal is obviously to make this a strength of the football team. We've got a lot of good young players, a lot of good young hungry players that want to contribute, that want to get on the bus, that want to play. Obviously there's only so many starters offensively and defensively, but special team is the way that, you really earn your spot on the team. And help us win games week in and week out. So it's been a great evaluation process this spring. We've been able to rep all the special teams, see where guys fit. Some guys have really excelled and done a good job. And then, there's others that, they kind of know the skill set this summer that they need to work on if they want to contribute and help in the fall. So it's been good. It's been definitely a great investment of our time and resources this spring to do that.
And then lastly, for either one of you guys, I don't know too much about the ins and outs with the triple option, but this new rule with blocking outside of the tackle box that might be proposed, will that have any effects or not really on Navy football?
We, for the last 10 years, I think they've adjusted the rule just about every year, and we just adapt and we move forward. We don't make excuses, and they're going to wish the old rules were intact after we get finished with them.
For both of you, I just was talking to Kip, and he had an interesting comment when I said, well, it's kind of if Navy football fans look at the offensive line as a whole, they see as a rebuild because 3 starters have to be replaced. Really, you think of it, right guard or left guard, rather, you had 2 different starters because Casavella went down, after starting 4 or 5 games. But he said it's not a rebuild, it's a reload. And he pointed out that there's a lot of guys that have played. I mean, do you agree with that?
I'll give my take, and I'll let Coach O'Rourke. We got a long history here, very proud history, and typically the guys that we put out there do a pretty good job. We had 9 different starting lineups last year. We started 5 different tackles, 5 guards, and 3 centers, and I think I have a suspicion that the 5 we roll out there this fall are going to play really well, and we're excited for the opportunity. We have enough pieces, we have enough talent, we have enough depth. So I feel confident in what we're going to, the product we'll put on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just go along with that too, the way we practice and the way we do things, the depth chart's the depth chart, but the guys that are the 2s and the 3s, like Coach said, we played 13 different guys last year, started in games. So those guys weren't ones, when we came out of spring ball. So, we have to develop some depth, and the way we practice, the way we meet, the way we test them in the meetings, that's where the depth is generated. So that's where I think Kip he's in the meetings. He sees how the guys are working. He watches the film. He sees some good young players. So I know he's excited as we are too, to roll this group out there next year. So.